us to talk about? Or
I have a few questions.
okay,
I will ask you a little bit about the soil, I think,
Okay.
okay,
since it seems like you know about that stuff.
yeah,
Yeah, that'd be great.
that's what we're here for.
Yeah, that's exciting. I didn't know exactly who she would be inviting, and so we've learned a lot today.
Okay.
Okay. Ready when you are.
Okay. Can you give us your names and just, who are you? A little bit about yourselves.
I'm Dave Rahe. I'm a certified professional soil scientist and got some other letters behind my name too. And this is my partner, Janette Porter. And she's also a soil scientist and a certified crop advisor. And I've been consulting now for about 15 years. Janette, what, 10?
I think 8 now, so this is my 8th year.
So anyway, I've been working with Roger and got into working with Roger when he was just a corn and soybean farmer like everybody else. And they started growing vegetables, and we kind of worked with them on that from the beginning too. And we look at soil fertility, and that's our main business. But we look at all aspects of soil management. Some of the issues that they've had here has been compaction and root knot nematodes. And so, if it's related to the soil, we try and figure out what's going on.
How crazy is it to turn over a corn and soybean farm to vegetable production?
Growing plants is growing plants. So it's not real crazy. It's learning all the little nuances of each different crop. That's probably a challenge for Roger and Deb. But for us, we're looking at trying to keep the soil quality at a certain level, keep the chemistry at a certain level, and we like to think we can grow just about anything in Illinois. So the thing that's hard to get used to for a grower is the intensity of the labor and management that's required as compared to corn and soybeans, and then also finding people that can help with those things, because a lot of the suppliers, they only work with corn and soybeans and maybe wheat in this area.
Are we losing our topsoil here? Do you pay attention to that?
We're not right here on this farm as such. There is some there are some soils in this area where the topsoil loss is probably a little more than we would like, but then some of the land that Roger farms, he's taken steps like using no-till to avoid the soil loss. So it can be managed, and most people do manage it at some degree or another.
So, if not for the labor, do you think most people would be interested in growing food for people?
Well, yes, but you got to realize that all food is ultimately food for people. Number one, and the reason we grow a lot of corn and a lot of soybeans is because it's fed to animals. A certain amount of it's used for food, and it's where all the research has grown. So I can't say, that we can't plant all of our cropland to vegetables and have farmers make a living. They got to plant it to what they can sell, and you can only eat so much broccoli.
Yeah. Is there anything that you wanted to say?
I would just say that I think with this farm, they do a good job of being conscientious of their soil's health, and that's why we're on the farm. So we help them manage their inputs and tell them what's economically feasible and help them with how they need to manage their crop so that they can produce a healthy plant and still be environmentally friendly and economically sound with their decisions. So,
Is this uncommon around here, like to grow vegetables?
primarily around here, we're growing a lot of corn and soybeans. So I would say yes. I mean, this is definitely a specialty crop and a specialty farm, in my opinion.
If you look, if you would run up and down the highway from Chicago to St. Louis, I would venture you find lots of specialty growers, but they're not very visible. You know, look at this farm. It's surrounded by a corn and soybean field. An interesting specialty in the area is up at McLean. There's a place there where they make maple syrup. You know, so that's a specialty crop. There's all kinds of people doing pumpkins and all kinds of agro-tourism specialties. It's not visible, but it's not that weird either. You know.
Okay. Is there anything else you want to tell us about Wolf Creek in particular? Okay.
Not necessarily. I think that one of the things that we didn't mention is that one of the reasons we're here is because healthy soils and fertile soils produce healthy crops, and you know there's less disease pressure, less insect pressure when you take care of the soils first. So you know that's one of the things that is a secondary benefit to what we're doing as well.
How do you, this is going to be a big question, but how do you have healthy soil again? How do you do it?
Well, to make sure that the nutrient levels are all where they need to be, and then you also want to work on the soil biology, make sure that the microbes in the soil are the ones that you want that can help release nutrients and help with water relationships and all of those things.
So
It's
worms.
really it's really a balancing act of your keeping certain nutrients in different ratios to keep it balanced so that the plant can take it up in the proper amounts as well. So, if that makes sense, and it can help with weed management as well to have your nutrients in the proper ratios too, because if you have those balanced correctly for the vegetables, then you're going to have less weed pressure as well. So.
But how do you do that? I know you can measure it, but do you
We do soil testing, and then we give them a recommendation, and then they choose what inputs to put into the vegetables based on what our recommendations are telling them and what our soil testing analysis is showing them. So.
Okay. Science.
Yeah, it's science and art, like Roger was saying. It's more art sometimes than science, though. So.
Well, I think we get to talk to them next, right? Is that true? Okay. Well, it's time for that.
Okay.
Thank you all for
Thank
your
you,
time.
guys.
Sure.
Yeah.